fucks are gonna last 2 weeks. It's gonna be us.
Because those IEDs that were killing us and blowing up our fucking Abrams tanks and shit, they fly around now. And they could reach you anywhere. There's nowhere to hide.
Us military have some of the darkest humor known to mankind, and we're seeing a weird little bit of both sides of the coin of what's going on with the Iran conflict, as we've seen humor come out of it, but also a very surreal reality and how we cope with those stressors that are going on. Now, I did make a video only a couple days ago talking about this, where we saw a lot of the Gen Zers that have essentially freaked out about the possible draft, if you want to call it that, that is not even actually happening. It's just a possibility of thought that there could ever be one, even though there's a lot of steps to that. That was showing people outside the military. Now I'm wanting to show people that are actually affected by it and people that have actually been to combat talk about this more in depth. The first one is from Libs of TikTok, where this person actually showed themselves kind of making a skit joking about it. Now, obviously, Libs of TikTok is usually pointing fun or not saying good things about somebody in regards to this, which I'm surprised they took this take, but they said this. They said, soldier appears to suggest he joined the military just for the taxpayer-funded benefits and is upset that he actually has to deploy. Oh, I'm sorry, not every person that joined the military didn't go, I pledge allegiance to this country and I love it because I don't want to have any representation without taxation. It's the red coats versus blue coats. No, it is much more convoluted, much more in depth than looking at the basis common denominator that we've written in history of them versus them, and this is bad and this is good. Like, it is much more nuanced than that, and I'd like to say most history is like that anyway. But I've essentially been able to come on record going and supporting this military member, such as this person right here. This person says, this could very likely be a joke. That's Shavara Music. And then Christian C. Nelson says, maybe he's upset because he's fighting for Israel instead of the United States. I don't know, maybe so. We can only infer so much, but I can infer that it's probably a joke. And this is just the cruel, dark humor that the military has to cope with stressful things that are out there. And I'm going to tell you that even the millennials are poking fun at Gen Z that are saying they couldn't hack it, such as this comedian right here.
Draft's coming. We're getting drafted. You know, these Gen Z fucks are gonna last 2 weeks. It's gonna be us. The whole line is gonna be 50-year-old and 30-year-old dudes, riddled with gout, walking with no ACLs, trying to defend Israel's borders for some reason. Where'd the boys go? They were scared to get off the ships. Fuck! It's gonna be us, brother. I'm looking at both you cats. In the front right, we can't even bend down. We're just shooting like that. Get your head down!
Trust me, most millennial people that are out there that were there from 02, 03, 04 and have been out for like 20 years, you're probably not going to hack another 50-pound rock on, going in the desert, going out trying to find bad guys. Not likely, okay? Now, it is with humor, people say this. For example, Missouri man says, USMC veteran here, I'm bringing my sleep apnea machine, M4, and a case of Red Bull. You can tell he's a different generation because he said Red Bull. We're talking about Rippets, dude. We got to bring it back to the OG. Brandon says, 36 here, had to horizontally roll out of bed this morning because my lower back was tight. Brandon, I have some solace for you in this. Most people that are infantry fighting the bad guys are sleeping in the dirt. They're already horizontal, already on the ground. So worrying about rolling out of something or whatever else, you don't have to worry about that. Get your battle buddy, take your hand, pull you up. We are making modern solutions to modern problems. Brandon, we're making you call back. Now, essentially, this has brought up veterans such as this Army veteran sniper here that has essentially gone on record saying that he thinks this is a much bigger deal and a lot of the Americans are not really paying attention closely to some of the things that are happening militarily wise.
I think we're about to invade Iran, like soon. I don't like to make speculative videos because I could always be wrong, but all of the evidence points to the fact that we are preparing for a ground invasion. So buckle up because there's a lot we need to get to. So on March 6th, the 82nd Airborne got a warning order. Get ready to deploy. So what this means is be prepared to deploy 18,000 troops anywhere in the world in under 48 hours. And right now, their planes are sitting on the runway, loaded and ready to go. So when the 82nd Airborne got this warning order, the headquarters, the leadership of the 82nd Airborne had their JRTC training canceled. And if you don't know what that is, there's this huge training program that we have to go through in the Army. It's 21 days, and it never gets canceled. It has not been canceled since 2003, before we invaded Iraq. And then on March 14th, the 82nd Combat Aviation Brigade, think of medevac and attack helicopters that support a ground invasion. They got their deployment orders to the Middle East accelerated by 2 months, which again is a huge fucking deal. It's extremely rare, and that's only happened 2 times. One of which, again, was in 2003, before we invaded Iraq.
The first part of this clip I do agree with. A lot of military operations are planned months and weeks ahead of time, where they're making funds and transportation requests and things like that, where usually they don't get denied or, canked for no reason unless there was a real world operation or real world likelihood of that happening. So I don't think he's false to give kind of the warning flag of hey, check this out, because we all know there's a battle rhythm, and usually we are continuously training no matter what as a military. So yeah, I find that a little bit on the right path here.
And they want these helicopters in the Middle East as fast as possible. They usually transport them by ship. We are flying them on giant planes to the Middle East to get them there as quickly as possible. So as you already know, we're staging 5,000 Marines, aircraft carriers, and amphibious assault ships in the Persian Gulf right now. And that consists of everything that you need to perform an amphibious assault on an island. So all of the US bases around Iran have had their blood transfusion supply increased by 500%. Because they're preparing for casualties. And the famous German hospital, Landstuhl in Germany, where you get flown to after you get blown up in Iraq, they have halted all civilian services to make room for a mass casualty event coming from Iran. As of March 12th, multiple field hospitals have been constructed in the UAE and Oman to again prepare for mass casualties.
And he is not incorrect about this, about Landstuhl, the hospital in Germany, which was known to treat a lot of casualties during Iraq, Afghanistan, where we had the golden hour, where that was how people were brought to Landstuhl. A lot of people remember not much until they got to Landstuhl if they were intubated or sedated for whatever reason. And then they would end up in Walter Reed over in Bethesda, Maryland, where that was their final stop to rehab and kind of get back in the fight or get out of the military entirely. But, even the blood bank that we're talking about, if that's the case, we know blood transfusion is the #1 way to allow people to survive, because honestly, we've tried and learned a lot of stuff from Iraq, Afghanistan, where we were we were actually taking people's lives by not giving them fresh whole blood. So the fact that the military is operating at this level and showing this, I don't know where his details or intel's from or open source information, but if what he is saying here is correct, I'd say, yeah, I'd be a little worried as well.
And it was just leaked that on March 20th, 2 days ago, the Pentagon submitted ground invasion plans to the White House. 24 hours later, Donald Trump gave Iran an ultimatum. Open the Strait of Hormuz in 48 hours or else. They're not going to comply. So the next logical step that Trump is going to make is to physically open the Strait of Hormuz using our Navy and our military, which would consist of a ground invasion of Karg Island. This is where Iran processes 90% of their oil. And if this administration did this, he would be falling directly into the Iran trap that every single previous and more experienced administrations managed to avoid. And if we do this, it is going to be fucking brutal. We are going to take so many casualties. Because those IEDs that were killing us and blowing up our fucking Abrams tanks and shit, yeah, they fly around now, and they could reach you anywhere. There's nowhere to hide. Nowhere to hide, and they cost $200 fucking dollars. Fuck!
And yeah, the whole drone thing, I respect his humor, but it is $200 to get a drone out and do a lot of damage, where before IEDs on the road, you would have things to scan and, take it out, and EOD would come out and do whatever else. And with this, I'm like, essentially there is no road. It's the open sky where you're worried. If you've not watched the Ukraine-Russia footage from the past couple of years, it is quite scary to see all the drone footage that's going on and how that has become like the main space of how damage is being done and how people are able to observe the battlefield. People responded to his TikTok and they say, "My brother in Christ, I'm so hoping you are wrong." Chucky in case he says, "My nephew was 82nd Airborne and just got out last year. I'm so happy he isn't there right now." Now, obviously, people are seeing some of this military movement, and we're seeing freakouts from military members, freakouts from the public, freakouts from people scared of them being possibly drafted, even though that's way far away. But so much so that there are elitists that are out there that are shaming U.S. military members for making the dumb decision of joining the U.S. military and thinking that they did it knowing that this was how it was going to be. But this Army veteran, I believe, kind of comes to their rescue and says a little bit of what the reality of what it's like to serve, and this is what he has to say.
It's gonna be the last time I tell y'all this. If you did not serve in the United States military, stop speaking on behalf of or to service members as if you have any semblance of what their life is like or how they think. I'm seeing a lot of videos in response to that crab legs and the chow hole video with people being like, "You guys know that you're going to war?" Yeah. Talking about, we need to have a real discussion about the United States military because you guys got sold the dream and now the realization is hitting you. First of all, y'all want so badly to be smarter than somebody that you're forgetting these people that you're condescending to. These are kids. These are 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids. Talking about they sold us a dream. You don't know what they told us and you don't know why we signed the line. Congrats, you were too smart to join the military because at 17, you somehow knew that billionaire pedophiles were going to invade the government. Send you to a war over oil that you know nothing the fuck about because you needed some help out with tuition. Act like we saw a fucking commercial and we're like, that looks cool, I want to go be G.I. Joe. And now it's hitting them like, oh my gosh, we're going to war. Oh, I got in a lot of trouble in high school, fucked up my college opportunities, and I had to get out of my dad's house and into a career. Adult in a room full of enlisted, you're bound to hit somebody that says, yeah, I just couldn't afford college. Even the people that did drink the Kool-Aid, it's not like they're figuring it out now. Every supervisor I ever had, from great to terrible, told me from day one, use the military because they gon' use you. In any conversation between two veterans, regardless of how long either of them served, it'll go something like this. Hey, how you been? You got your VA? Because we know you gotta squeeze the system for everything that it's got because it's gonna do that to you. Ones who don't know that just haven't been in long enough to figure that out. They will. You're not breaking any news to anybody. You saw the commercials and thought that that's all that the military is and thought that's all military recruits and military members saw. That's just not the case. Even if it was, again, the majority of these people that got lied to and sold a dream are kids who you're pointing and laughing at that are now going to war. Yeah, you're so much smarter and so much morally superior. We have our problems with the regime and the current system, but guys, the majority of people that joined did not pledge allegiance to Trump. For some people, it was the choice between the uniform and homelessness. Millions of service members right now that share your same viewpoints about this war, but they just couldn't afford college or healthcare for their baby, and now they're going to have to make the sacrifice. Sacrifices that they've always made so that you can even get on here and say this ignorant shit. How ironic is that? I want to act better than those people because you were too smart to fall for it, right? Nice. You're despicable. God bless the troops.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are giving these 18 to 20-something-year-olds, the majority of people that are joining are around that age group, and most of the force is probably less than 25, 26 years old. So I'm telling you, a lot of these people are not joining because they have this hindsight like, oh, I'm going to go do this bad thing, and knowing all about the deep state and all these other things. Like, I don't think that's it. I think there's a much more fundamental thing. I am one of those people, like when I joined in 2008, we had 5 years of Iraq. We had like 7 years of Afghanistan. My little puny undeveloped brain did not understand I was going to go to war. That was not it. I didn't have that idea. I thought those were the other guys that were going. I was not going to go. I was naive. I was dumb. That was a lot of this. So that's going out there. So that was a lot of the issues that I see with this, where I'm like, I don't expect these current day kids to have that same understanding, especially as we haven't really been in that true conflict for a while. Also, let's talk about the fact that a lot of people are looking at what's directly in front of them, which is, I need food, I need shelter, I need healthcare, I need very basic things. Now, they could be on TikTok just complaining about this, but that's the reality, is they're not. They're actually going out and doing something about it or trying to look for a better solution, which I do commend them. And anybody that works any job, doesn't have to be military, but look at some of the comments here where some people have more insight on kind of why they joined. So Michael says, the only thing I was lied to about was a $40K signing bonus. Still ain't hit yet. 17th most wanted said, I just wanted to go to college, bruh. And Jalen literally counting down my college credit so I can finally get out. Which, by the way, college is not a saving grace either, because how many kids are leaving college with like $40,000, $50,000 worth of debt at least, and they're not able to do anything besides work at Starbucks, and they're going to have that college debt forever. So essentially they're screwed. And I'm saying I'd rather take someone that joined the military, at least try to figure out what they could do with their lives, and at least not have college debt and have the US government pay for it, and probably be more successful in society than if they just went and got a degree in whatever. But just my opinions looking at this, I can tell you I was in the same boat as a lot of these people that were in bad economic situations. But let me know what you guys think about the situation down in the comments below.